up with faster speedling play too.
Anyways, introducing our players here, spawning in the top left hand side of the Teach. It is going to be the Red Cirque playing for Team Acer. It is Paranoid.
Conversely, his opponent playing for Western Wolves Mad Cats, it is in the purple trunks playing Protoss, StarNaN.
Yeah, and he also won the previous game. I mean, that this is now currently 1-0 for him, so he can basically close it out right now, since it's best of 3. And once again, just to point out, we will once again see that pylon at the choke, and I'm pretty sure we will also go for the gateway expansion, and going for that wall off here at the front choke.
Love it, absolutely love it. I think I would like to see more Protosses doing this in the future, especially if he's, if maybe he knows something about Paranoid's playstyle, or more likely, in fact, that it's just he does this in every PvZ. You know, it's safe, it's reliable, and if you can get that Zealot out nice and early at the choke point too, and you just get used to working with that, you can prevent so many Ling run-bys and this kind of shenanigans.
Absolutely. Paranoid once again is also going for a very economically orientated build here, going for that hatch first build this time, I think. Checking for any proxies though. Now we'll throw down his hatchery. And definitely a very risky opening, especially against the Protoss on such a small map as Belshir Vestige. And also Belshir Vestige is known for its cheeses, as we saw in one of the previous games there from No Name.
Yeah.
So he definitely plays it
is.
very, very aggressively. Well, not really aggressively, but economically or aggressively. Of course, by taking a huge risk, but I think it eventually will pay out for him. Just because StarNaN is also opening very economically.
Yeah, there's not a lot that StarNaN can do at this point in the game. I mean, likewise, Paranoid might know that StarNaN always goes for this gateway style. I mean, obviously we saw that he looked through the replay in the previous game as well, so he might guess that his opponent does this too. His Overlord's coming into the natural now, so he's going to be able to see that there is no expansion. That would be a crazy fast expansion timing if there already was one there. And he's now going to be able to spot the gateway on the ramp, so I think he can be quite happy with the current situation, and it looks like he's going to plant his third immediately. Boom, there it goes.
Once again though, a little bit aggressive, because usually against a gateway expansion you want to delay your third just a little bit, you don't want to take it right away. So that's a very interesting choice there once again by Paranoid, but I think since it worked out for him in the last game, he just goes for it again. Definitely don't blame him for that. Anyways, also Nexus is down for StarNaN there. Behind all of that we also see of course the warp gate and the mothership core. So no real surprises there, I think, for Paranoid.
Yeah, nothing to see here really. Just kind of standard gateway focused play. There goes the mothership core, as you say. And yeah, I think I would like to see him taking an earlier gas. Currently taking no gas whatsoever, just content to stay on slowlings and queens for the time being. A probe comes in to check the presence of the third base, does see it, gets chased away by a Ling. Because there are a couple of timings that StarNaN can actually hit relatively close to this time. I mean, we've seen in the previous game that he kind of went for a fake timing, just with one Stalker, 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core. I mean, a few pylons here and there. But he could really ramp up the aggression here if he decides to, and that early scout of the third base might actually prompt him to do so. Looks like we're going to see the start. Oh no! Just as we say that, yeah, going up to 4 gates. I saw he banked enough minerals for the Stargate and thought the gas was there for the Stargate. I thought that was what was going to be happening, but no, electing for the 4 gates. So he is really going to try and hit this aggressive little timing here.
Absolutely, he's also trying to plant another pylon here with that probe, but again, another Link spots it, will eventually now get taken out here by the mothership core, and now we see the proxy pylon, but Paranoid already caught a glimpse of that, of course, with seeing that probe, and is immediately building 14 links, so he should prepare he should be prepared as soon as this 4-gate timing here arrives at his third base. So I think he should be doing fine.
Yeah, his Overlord positioned on StarNaN's natural has seen the 3 gateways made there, so he knows that it's a 4-gate coming up. He's only just started mining gas though, so speed is going to be nowhere in time to be able to handle this. So he's just instead going to have to rely on his queens and just a metric ton of links. He's currently sitting at 15 and he's got 22 in production, so I think he's certainly going to be able to hold off his natural. Whether he loses his third is another question entirely.
Anyways, now the units are pushing into the third base here with the slow links and 2 queens, trying to stop that, of course, but nice force fields forcing them to go back. Another proxy piling goes down here to allow quicker reinforcements. Behind all of that we see the Stargate as well here. So once again trying to go for that Phoenix Void Race that we saw previously. Now once again the units are pushing forward. This time not so many force fields left though. Nice time warp though. Slowing down those links. Nice force fields. But the links also swing in from the back, getting the full surround on all of these units. The Mothership Core has no recoil available. And with that everything will die here. That didn't go out as planned here for Paranoid. But with more and more Zealots, I think he also actually can break through here.
Not sure about breaking through, but certainly gets the trade that he wanted to. All the lings are gone. There are plenty of queens here to be able to fend this off. Keeps his Mothership Core alive as well, so that's a nice little save there. Normally that Mothership Core, you can, well, not normally, but quite frequently it does end up getting picked off by the queens in the engagement. But I think he'll be, you know, relatively happy with that. He forced out a ton of lings. He really hampered the drone count. I mean, he's only got 29 drones now, well, he's just made a huge batch of them. He had 16 in the production tab there at one point. But it's certainly slowed down his economy for a long time here. And with the Phoenixes that are going to be starting relatively quickly now, having finished that Stargate, he's going to be able to get into gears for... In fact, he's already one Phoenix out. He's going to be able to get into gears for the next stage of the game. Meanwhile, we see some lings just sharking around outside on the map. Not being able to do too much here. They're just trying to check to see if anything's happening, if there's been maybe a cheeky third base having been taken. They're just chilling out over here at the moment. Mothership Core spots them and is going to be able to take them down as well. There's not really much in the way of defense at the front here, and they do have a quick poke. There's a cannon that's warping in at the moment. But I don't think those lings are going to be able to get much done at all there, don't you think?
No, definitely not. With that in place and all those sentries with their force fields, they definitely should not be able to breach through. But they can, of course, deny any sorts of third bases or attempts of getting something like that down. Because as it is right now, StarNaN is in a little bit of a light contain here. Basically, he cannot get out of his base. But if he really wanted to breach it, he definitely could do so. But with those Phoenixes already starting to clear out those overlords, I think he should be fine with the present situation.
Yeah, I think he'll be perfectly fine. He's forced a gigantic round of overlords coming out from Paranoid, going up to 9 overlords, so he's not going to be supply blocked for a long time. Meanwhile, he's gone for +1 melee and +1 carapace, so with the lair timing coming up as well, he's obviously quite content to stay on lings for the time being. And do you think he's going to maybe attempt to rush up to Ultralisks from here?
That could very well be an option here for him, because he already is going for the melee upgrades. So it definitely could work out for him. I think he's also just getting that Roach Warren to be safe if StarNaN went for any sorts of 2-base all-ins. I don't think he's really planning on using them too much. So yeah, rushing for Ultralisks would definitely be a viable option here. Maybe also getting a Spire into the mix for some Mutalisk play once again could definitely also work out here for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a much safer position than he was in the last game if he wants to make that Mutalisk transition. He's got plenty of queens out on the field. Ooh, speaking of which, they are going to get picked up by some of these Phoenixes here. 3 queens up in the air. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get all of them, but there are plenty of Phoenixes here. Yeah, drops one of them, picks it up again, immediately decides to fire it up. There are no Spore Crawlers here firing at the moment, but plenty of queens have gone down. 2 already. Third one gets picked up again. That gets taken out. So loses a few queens there, unfortunately, does Paranoid. And these overlords too look like they might be able to get picked off. Nope, do manage to run away behind a Spore Crawler, but only to be shot later on.
Yeah, absolutely. That was already a very nice move there by StarNaN, doing a lot of damage with those Phoenix once again, without really losing anything. On the other hand, he's now trying to do something with his links there. Could maybe catch the army off guard there with all those Zealots with their +1 upgrades. Those links are in a lot of trouble. That was
not the
close.
best force fields there.
Definitely not. Once again, Lings are swinging in from the back here, trying to be aggressive here, take out a probe, then leave again. Because he pretty much cannot do anything apart from that with those cannons there in place. And I also like the positioning of those cannons, being almost completely surrounded in buildings. Basically, the Lings cannot do anything about that.
Exactly, yeah, you prevent the surrounds. The one on the left is slightly more exposed, but it's really nothing at all. So it's great use of SimCity there. And holy Hydralisks, Batman, we just had 21 in production and 13 Roaches to follow that up. So if Ultralisks are the end game kind of plan for Paranoid, he's certainly not committing to Lings totally.
No.
He's mixing it up with some missile units, and he's actually got +1 missile attacks about 2/3 of the way done as well. So yeah, going for a big bunch of Hydralisks, and this could actually work out quite nicely for him, especially now that he's got roaches to tank as well. There's not a great deal of splash damage. In fact, there is no splash damage out on the map at the moment for StarNaN. So if he pushes with this, he might actually have a nice little timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a Protoss, you really absolutely need splash damage to be able to deal with that. I mean, eventually he might be able to mix in a couple of Archons here to the mix. They do a little bit of splash damage, but it definitely will not be enough with just 3 or 4 Archons. He definitely would need much more than that. And maybe that's his plan right now, because rushing up to Storm or Colossi would just be way too slow right now.
Yeah, he just literally as you said that, it's almost as if you've got the production tab open. he just made 3 Archons, so he's really now getting the splash damage, but so late in the game, 15 minutes gone, and as you mentioned quite correctly, I'm not sure if 3 Archons is going to be able to do enough splash damage here. I mean, it's only just a very little bit. Meanwhile, he's quite content, it seems, to let his opponent macro up. He's got +2 missile attacks on the way and +2 melee just finished. 13 Banelings with Baneling speed on the way as well. Wow, scratch that, 30 Banelings.
Wow.
And as it looks like StarNaN's trying to posture around the 4th base position here, I think Paranoid's going to be able to absolutely roll this army if he gets the correct position.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially if you take a look at the creep spread right now, it's basically almost at the Protoss player's 4th base, and you never want to engage on creep as a Protoss player with very little splash damage, because that just not is going to work out for you there. Now we already see the flank move being set up here for Paranoid with those Lings, Banelings, Roaches and Hydralisks. He's gonna go for it with only 4 Archons in the mix. Also the Banelings will get some nice connects here. The force fields are semi-decent. Eventually the army is going to be pushed back, but only little remains here for StarNaN, and he has to retreat here. More force fields has to be thrown down here if he wants to stop that. There we go, but he's in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. Plummeted in supply there, really. It's currently 141 to 183 supplies. 88 Lings in production. Now 8 Roaches following that up as well. So using a really wide range of units is our Zerg player Paranoid here, and I really like this as well. It makes the Protoss composition more awkward because you have to account for lots of different counterplay. Charge is finishing up for StarNaN, as well as he's got a little bit of harassment that was attempted at the 4th base, not able to get a lot done as well. But I think the force fields were what saved him in that last engagement, and I'm not sure if he's got the energy now to be able to do the same thing again.
No, he barely has any sentries here. Only 4 with very little energy on each here. So he is in a lot of trouble. And now also Paranoid is going to come in from multiple directions, going for the full surround here. There we go, there's the force fields, but the units come in from the other side as well. Banelings connect onto absolutely everything. He's just gonna roll over him, and I think we might see a GG here any moment. And Paranoid will equalize the score here in this second match of this best of 3.